My name is Mary Hale, and I'm from Ohio. I was diagnosed February 2010. I had open heart surgery in January of 2010. So once I went through all the testing and all this, then I had a diagnosis. I had PAH. I had a pain in my side and thought I pulled a muscle at work, and I was just babying it. And I finally went to the doctor. They did all this stuff, and it didn't look good. I went for a heart cath and they kept me, and I had open heart surgery January 25th, Monday morning, 2010. I remember it plain as day. They couldn't believe I was still alive. I was dumbfounded because I had no clue what it was. They didn't even know what it was. The lung specialist that was brought in during the surgery, and he was explaining to me what he thought I had, PAH. And I'm like, what is that? And so he gave me, it affects the right side of your heart. It's the pulmonary artery, it affects your breathing. So he sent me to a specialist at OSU, and I did all those tests, and that's when I was diagnosed. I was in grad school when it all happened, and I had the open heart and everything, and I had dreams and stuff. And I don't know how many times I could say this, it overwhelmed me. I cried a lot. Like what is a chronic illness? Why would I have this? How did I get this? There's no answer. No one knows how they get it unless, it could be hereditary, which is the idiopathic pulmonary arterial hypertension. So from that day on, when I left the hospital up till now, I'm on oxygen. Like I'm on constant oxygen. I did work up till 2013, and I did finish grad school. But after that, it was just hard because people, when you wear oxygen, they see red flag. You know what I mean? So it was very devastating. I cried a lot and I prayed a lot and spoke to mentors that I had. And, it's just something that, I was just confused. Like, why do I have this? How in the world did I have that? Do I have this? Out of 4 siblings, I'm the middle one. How did I get it? It's a roller coaster. Everything changes year after year, new medicine, new doctors. It's an adventure, to be honest, because you just don't know. For 17 years, I taught preschool. And 10 of those years, I worked with a program called Head Start, and it's working with inner city children and parents. My degree is in nonprofit, and I wanted to work with the inner city families. I had a heart and desire for that because I grew up in the projects until I was in middle school. So having a heart for that, and I wanted to go to school so I could have the background and then go back to it and say, I want to do this. That was my desire. So I didn't get a chance to do it. One thing happens for a reason, one door closed, how they say that. But right now I do volunteer on Tuesdays, which I haven't because of COVID, with the inner city school program in Springfield. So that's exciting to me, and I can't wait to get back to it. 2013, my heart couldn't handle all the work I was doing at work. I was tired a lot more. My pressures was just too high. So I did go on disability. So I'm still on that. From then on, I was just a homemaker, worked with kids at church, volunteered a lot, and plus with the PH group out of Dayton, Ohio, I'm one of the leaders, so I do that. And then up till 2018, it was the week of Thanksgiving. It was that Wednesday, November 21st. I've been really tired and going to bed early. And my husband was like, well, you must not feel good if you miss NCIS. So that Wednesday, I was cleaning my Hickman, which is if you're on IV Remodulin like I am, you have the Hickman coming out of your chest. So you have to clean it, every 7 days or when it gets wet. So I was cleaning that, and I end up putting clear, regular tape on my line instead of the tape they provide, the good tape. And for some reason, I thought, well, I can't get it off. Let me use these little bit of scissors. And when I pulled the tape, I cut my Hickman, which about freaked me out. I called my husband at work, and I said, you got to get home. I cut my Hickman. I got to get to UC. So next thing I know, he wakes me up. I'm laying on the floor. I passed out and didn't know it. So he drove for like a bat out of hell down 75 going to UC. And I remember getting there, and I remember he had to have 2 other guys help me out because I was dead weight because of my leg. When I passed out, I landed on my left side of my hip. which grew into a big hematoma. And I couldn't walk it out. Laying as long as I did, all the nerves crushed. I remember being in the ED emergency department at UC, and I remember they put a Remodulin IV in me because I cut my Hickman. And I remember talking to a nurse, and next thing I know, I woke up December 3rd. They called my husband that night, November 21st, and asked if they had permission to put me on life support, which was the ECMO. Come to find out, I had MRSA that developed into pneumonia, and I was really bad off. Thanksgiving Day, that evening, they told my husband, you might want to make funeral arrangements because we don't think she's going to make it through the night. Lord behold, I did, and I'm here. It was just craziness. In my mind, it was craziness. You remember going there, and then you wake up with tubes, and you're like, what is going on? It was just like a sense of, wow, what did I just go through? Because when you're on the ECMO, you're either getting a lung transplant, heart transplant, or you're just buying time. And I was buying time, but I survived it. What happened was I stayed in ICU, cardiac ICU, for almost, 2 weeks because I had to get to rehab because I had to learn to walk again. Because, there for a while, they were afraid that I wouldn't be able to talk or know to do anything because I was so down for almost, 10, 11 days. So they didn't know if my cognitive, if I could speak or anything would come back. It is life-changing. I've heard people, wow, you only got 5 years to live. No, you don't. Don't read that. The medicines have changed. Everything has changed. I know somebody who's going on 24 years that is living with PAH. Look at it I have today. You just got to look at one day at a time and live life. You got to live life. You cannot give up on life. And people that are wearing oxygen, I've heard so much. Well, I don't go anywhere because I wear oxygen. Oh, honey, hush. I have tanks. I go out to lunch with my girlfriends. My husband and I go to movies. I go shopping. You still got to live. You still got to live. You cannot let this win over you. You got to be stronger in your thoughts. You got to be stronger in how you want to proceed with your life. Even though you have this, you still are a warrior. You got to fight. Sometimes I'll be like, this is not where I thought I'd be. I didn't think I'd be at the spot I am. But here I am, and I could still walk. I could still drive a car. I could still clean my house. I could still do things. You know what I mean? I don't need help. I can still do it. Now, my left leg, it works, but I have like a little gimp because it's still numb on some parts. The nerves didn't come back. So it's not full strength like my right one. But I still walk. I still do things. And, I still live life. I still will sometimes catch myself asking the question, why? Why do I go through with this when in reality, why not me? Maybe I'm being used for something to share with others that you can do this. Your attitude depends on how you deal with PAH. I have a positive attitude. I'm not peppy every day. I have down days, absolutely. But I can't let this overtake me. I still got a life to live. I still have family, nieces and nephews, and great nieces and nephews that come over, and we just, I still have a life. My 2 dogs and my husband, I still have a life, and I don't take nothing for granted anymore. You just don't. The only thing I can say is people with PAH, yes, it's overwhelming. Yes, it's a chronic illness. Yes, in our lifetime, we will probably not see a cure. With that in mind, we still got to get up each day and live our life to the fullest. When you open your eyes, you have another day. Be thankful. You got to have the positive attitude. And that's what everyone tells my friends. They tell me, how do you get through this? I said, well, grace of God and prayer, but attitude. You got to have a positive attitude to get through anything. And for something like this ordeal, it's all attitude. You just got to be positive. It can be so easy to be a humbug, like an Eeyore or something, but be a Tigger, be ready to bounce, be ready to just have fun and live life. My name is Mary Hale. I am aware that I am rare.